there's no question that you have to be talented to be successful in this industry. But there's also so much more than that. And over the years, tragically, we've seen acting careers be sabotaged. Moreover, acting careers have emerged and never really blossomed fully, even gotten off the ground, mostly because an actor was at odds with their own mind, with their own head. The big feelings that come up in all this, the big reactions, the emotional violence of the industry destroyed their talent, destroyed their possibilities. And so a good deal of the work that we do here at the studio is facilitating situations in which some of those reactions come up, creating situations, be it a mock audition, or, by the way, tomorrow we're going to do sonnets in class, and that, sonnets, what am I, in 6th grade? All that resistance comes up. And then we figure out ways to have some awareness of the resistance and manage it. And here we draw on 2,600-year-old Buddhist philosophy, The big feeling comes up. You're in the waiting room and you're about to go in, and at the end of the thing it says she weeps, at the end of the scene. It's all you can think of is, oh my goodness, I hope that I am able to actualize, this blueprint and actually cry when they need me to cry, as if that's the metric that matters. And so in the waiting room, which is the stupidest name for a place, because it should be called the presence room, right? So you're waiting for this thing to happen, and so your head's spinning, and you walk in, and your pages are all dog-eared, and they call your name, and you like this, have this reaction, and you're smiling you're trying to glad hand, but really your head's spinning, and you're thinking about the end of that scene, and you're walking towards the thing, and you walk in, and there's, 5 network suits or whatever it is, and the director and the showrunner, and you're all up here, and your head is chipping away at your talent. You have an inability to be present because you're so afraid of the consequence of all of this. Because what if they tell you you weren't good enough? And that's hard. What if you're not talented? What if you moved all the way across the country to do this thing and you were wrong? It's the very invalidation of your life choices. So you can either be sabotaged by your own mind, or you can take some action that leads to some space and some presence. And ultimately, that's what this is, presence. If you're not present, you're not there. You can't be there. You can't be listening to your reader being affected in real time, and thereby affecting the other people in the room on an emotional level. So what do? Well, one thing is to come back to our breath. Well, here's where some of us are rolling our eyes and going, what, are you kidding? No, wait, come on. I'm trying to book some shit here and you're telling me to breathe, like that's some sort of audition technique. But it is. So you're in the waiting room and you are about to pee yourself because you're so nervous. Oh my goodness. You can have an awareness of the anxiety. You can say to yourself, wow, I am so anxious. My heart is beating so fast. In that there's an acceptance of the reality of what is happening. And the interesting thing about that awareness is that it separates you from the anxiety. So you are not your anxiety. That's the process in that situation. Oh, my head is spinning. My heart is beating. I am anxious. I have anxiety. We separate from it. And that's the first step in all this, because it creates some space between you and that reaction. And your mind, this little puppy that's running around, reacting to every little thing that's happening. You can see the mind as that and know that you are not it. And in that space, you can make some decisions that are in your own good. And so you don't get swallowed by the anxiety. And then you can come back to your breath, and you can take a breath in and just think to yourself, I'm breathing in. And as you take a breath out, you can think to yourself, I'm breathing out. And you can do that a couple times. And, so say the Buddhists, this calms your mind and brings some sort of control over the puppy that's running around. And then, of course, it'll go again and it'll start running around, and you just stop and go, oh yeah, there's that, it's doing that thing again. And I'm going to come back to my breath. I'm breathing in and I'm breathing out. And there's an element of coming home in all of that. The Buddhist monk that I worked with for 10 years or so, trained with him, he would call that coming home. So you come home to your breath. You come home to your heartbeat. And there's something that's solid about that prevents you from reacting to the anxiety, for the anxiety to drive the bus. So in that same waiting room situation, it comes up, you have the awareness of it. That awareness can create some space, step you back from the thing. And in that space, you can perhaps infuse a breath or two, come back to your breath. And then you can decide, well, I'm going to come back to my preparation here. That's fine. I'm going to come back to this moment. And when you do, you're able to see what's around you. The interesting thing about presence is that when you're present, other people emerge. If you're all up in your own stuff and you're not present, you can't. You're thinking about dad in third grade, or the teacher that told you you were useless, or the cast director workshop where she said you're too much or whatever. You're somewhere else. All of a sudden, when you come back, I'm breathing in and I'm breathing out. You're far much more likely to see the reader, the object of your intention in the scene. And all of a sudden, things come into place. And so if you're able, step by step by step, to get to a place where you get triggered, you react, you stop for a second and have an awareness of the trigger, thereby stepping back, creating some space, come back to your breath. From there, you're able to navigate whatever the industry can throw at you. And indeed, it can throw a lot. The ups and the downs, you can step back from them and come home pretty consistently. And that will allow you to actualize your preparation, to do what you want to do in the room. And I suspect it'll allow you to have a more peaceful time of it as an actor as well, again, in this emotionally violent industry. Give that a shot. Awareness, and then come back to your breath. Is this an audition technique? Probably. Yeah.